Okay. Are we live on YouTube? Howdy, howdy, howdy do, and welcome to the Red Garnet broadcast. You are live at the embassy with Stephanie Mwangi. Okay, we're not there yet. We could be if my vocals were warmed up. I want to talk to you about why I married a man 5 years younger and at the time way more immature than me. First and foremost, I do not recommend it unless God affirms it. God affirmed it. God definitely affirmed it through signs, miracles, and wonders and dreams about my husband, Garnett, being the one that he has for me. And so, because God affirmed it, I proceeded forward into marriage. But when Garnett first brought it up, I was really offended and I told him to get out. I said, leave my house. Because we had had a real time together, a real time together in ministry and friendship, and it was a painful process. And so that is why I at first did not want to be married to anyone. I thought I was going to be like Paul, but then God began to really give me an emotion of wanting to be intimate. He did not give me lust, but he gave me this desire to be intimate with a husband. And I had not had that because it just had been a very kind of stressful season in time for me as a friend of Garnett. And so I want to share with you how God affirmed my husband and why God affirmed him, and then how my husband grew out of his immaturity. And now that we are celebrating this May 4 years of marriage, how we're finally in a place of freedom and maturity. Now, the process to get there was a real process of patience and endurance for me. And, really just maintaining the fruits of the Spirit and just believing on God's word that he would finish what he started, and that he would deliver what he birthed, what he planted and what he began. He said, why would I bring a woman into labor if I'm not going to deliver the baby? Right? That's what he says in the Bible. I think somewhere in Isaiah. And so I knew that God would work everything out for my good if I loved him and if I was in the calling that he has for me, if I was in the purpose and plans that he has ordained for me. And so because of that, I knew that eventually he was going to be the man that he was capable of being, even though in that season he was unable. So why did I wait almost 4 years to start testifying about this and making a video about this? It's because we are just now at a place where I can say that my husband is no longer immature, more immature than I am. We're now at a place where we are in synchronization. We are in harmony within our marriage. We are synchronized with the mind of Christ, and we're proceeding forward. We're no longer taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It has been a real journey. I've lost hair. I've lost sleep. I've definitely gained some wrinkles, that's for sure. But I can say this, that now we are in the perfect will of God. And a lot of the problems that we were having was that we were not under the covering that God had placed us and called for us to be in. We had a church split at one of our churches. We left the other church that we were ministering at and serving at because they came against us when we wanted to marry. And these people don't believe in the power of Jesus Christ. They believe that signs, miracles, and wonders have ceased. They are cessationalists, so you can only imagine. None of them had good marriages. None of them had passion for Jesus. None of them had passion for their wives. So when they came at us, specifically the pastor, we confronted him. Hey, we're not going to go to seminary school because this place is demonic. They're teaching doctrine of demons. And then he retaliated, and the demons in him spoke back and said, you better be careful of this woman marrying a girl like her. She'll control you. Psh, what do you mean control you? Huh? So, my husband had known this pastor for 4 years now, and he had not seen this man grow. He had not seen this man evolve his wife. His wife was complacent. He was complacent. People were a revolving door out of their church. It just was not a church of grace and truth and power. So people were not growing. There was only they had a church that could seat 400, but yeah, they only had 30 attendees. And the only one attending were the people that were serving. They had some old people that lived on the street that would come there and just sit in the pews. And anyways, so God began to really confirm my husband. And he did that first with a sign. The morning after, I asked him for confirmation. Let me just make sure we're live and we're good on YouTube. The morning after, I asked for confirmation. Man, I wish I could go live right now. I hope my husband's watching. Are you watching, Garnett? If you are, can you comment? But we oh man. Okay, great. So I had asked for prayer from someone at the church that I was attending. And then I had prayed that night at my bedside on my knees. And I was like, God, give me a sign. Like, this guy who I want to kind of marry, who I'd been pursuing at first, and then the tables turned and he began pursuing me, because that's how it ought to be. I had multiple other pursuers right before my husband as well. Multiple throughout my life, but some serious pursuers who asked my relatives for my hand in marriage before my husband, Garnett, came along in my life. Thankfully, I did not proceed forward with those two men. But because God did not confirm them. So God confirmed my husband, though. So he lacked a car because God had to smash it, because he went out of the will of God. He lacked a job because he was unmanageable at that time because of how many demonic friends he had abiding in his, or not abiding, but living in his soul. He lacked a college degree because we both decided to drop out. I continue not after we got married, but I realized that we don't need degrees for the call of God on our lives, for what he wants us to do. Even though we are both now in school. I'm in school with Global School of Ministry. Shout out to Encounter Church under Prophet Leon Dupria. Whoop, whoop. I love their school. I really encourage you. If you want to grow as a person, grow in wisdom, revelatory knowledge, and understand your destiny and your purpose, you need to get into Global School of Ministry. Global School of Ministry. Get into that school. So anyways, so he lacked a degree. He lacked a car. He lacked a place to live. He lacked a good credit score. He lacked... he had like $400 of debt from an old phone bill. And he just lacked a vision for his future. And he also lacked documentation. His green card was stolen. So he wasn't really able to legally get a job anywhere. So like, he was like a stray cat, essentially. Like, that's kind of the status that he was at. But I knew he wasn't. I knew that he was so special. That's why I pursued him. And that's why I was really wanting him. And I also knew that he had a disadvantage at a very young age, as did I. And I really was attracted, though, to how he was a foreigner. I loved that he was not American. I loved that he was African. I loved that he had this beautiful chocolate skin. And I loved his appearance. I loved his musical abilities, his ability to play guitar, his unique voice. So there's all these things that I loved about him that really, and I loved his ability to just love being around kids. And he really did begin to see who I was. God, after I stopped pursuing him, then God began to open up his eyes so that he could see who I was and see the specialness that I was walking in and the grace that Jesus had given me. And that's then when he started to pursue me. So so he gave me back to the signs as to, like, why would God confirm me to be married and engaged to a man that had, at that moment in time, nothing to offer me, nothing at all. He had to move in with me. No job, no car, no degree. And also just lacked a father figure growing up. So his ability to imitate a father was difficult because he lacked that growing up. So, and you know, we are imitators. So any man who lacks a father figure is difficult to walk as a father unless he really loves God and loves Jesus, and then it's not as difficult. So anyways, God gave me a rainbow in my kitchen the morning of that I prayed the night prior for a miracle sign, for a sign of confirmation. And I woke up 30 minutes before my alarm clock, and I was drawn into my kitchen. And as I entered into my kitchen, I saw this shining light shining through my fish tank onto the floor. And it was like a foot and a half, almost 2 feet long, vibrant rainbow. It looked like I was tripping on acid. Like, that's how vibrant this rainbow was. I'd never seen anything like it, never seen anything since it, except for in the sky recently when my spiritual father was prophesying. Then there was a rainbow that came and gave confirmation, which was amazing. And so, so then I took a picture of that, and if I had the ability, I have the capability, but I don't have the ability right now to show that that rainbow. So I'll have to show, once my husband teaches me how to bring up technology, then I'll show you that. Okay, the other sign was my husband's stepfather's bush had been blossoming green for 17 years until our engagement period. It blossomed red. So from green to red. And then it has never blossomed red since. Oh my gosh, my dog. Hold on. Okay. And then the next thing the next thing that happened was my husband started getting calls from men of God from his youth, his adolescent years. Started getting calls from two men of God that really encouraged him to proceed forward into marriage. Whereas previously, from his intimate relatives, close relatives, he had been discouraged by vain statements of financial stipulations. And so he was told, hey, you don't need thousands of dollars to get engaged. You don't need thousands of dollars for a wedding. And thankfully we didn't. And then the third thing was that my husband all of a sudden remembered that he had, even though he didn't have a job, didn't have a car, and didn't have paperwork to get a job, he all of a sudden remembered that he had some money stored away in some stocks. So he was able to liquidate those, and we had enough money to be engaged with good rings. I'm wearing it now. And then have a backyard wedding where we just had people bring potlucks for the gifts, like dishes for the gifts. And then I was able to buy a nice dress and have decorations and flowers. And so it was all for under 2,000. And it was it was exactly what we needed and wanted for that time period. And so that was another thing. And then at my wedding was this halo rainbow that appeared in the sky directly above our ceremony as I'm giving my testimony. A literal halo rainbow right above us. It was an incredible phenomenon. They got it on camera. People were looking at it and pointing at it, and we got it all on camera while I'm sharing my testimony. Thankfully, our wedding was recorded. So that was a really cool experience. So yeah, God really began to confirm my husband. And there was another sign, I think. So we got the rainbow, we got the money that was liquidated, we got the bush, we got the phone calls. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, for our wedding gift from God, God paid for our guitar. Hi, Jeremy. Hello, good morning, Smitty Super Service. I was just sharing about our wedding testimony and how God confirmed Garnett as my husband. God paid for our guitar. So Garnett, my husband, was designing this guitar. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube Live right now. I don't know if you can see. So I'm on YouTube Live right now. So but God paid for this guitar shop to finish the designing and like structuring of my husband's guitar. He made this guitar out of this wood piece, these beautiful pieces of wood, and he built the body. And then like there was a disconnection with the vibrations of the chords. They were unable to actually perform, and so God paid for the bill for that guitar shop to fix his guitar and finish molding it and completing it, and that was paid for. So that was like God's gift for us. We won this raffle and someone paid for it. And so we didn't even apply for a raffle though, like, which was the craziest part was someone came to the shop and was like, I want to pay for their ticket, for their bill. And they were like, okay, great. Like, I don't know, it was like probably $400, maybe a little bit over that. So God paid for that. That was our wedding gift from God. And I think one of the reasons too why God really blessed us was because we maintained purity. So we did not know each other until our wedding night. I was a virgin, or not. I was my husband's first on his wedding night. I was not a virgin on my wedding night. I had a prior life of rebellion and wild rebellion from being a brokenhearted heathen. And so I had this amazing, beautiful husband on my wedding night, and we had a rough wedding. I'll wait for my husband to join me on that one. We'll talk about our wedding night. It was kind of rough. It was rough because we had some interference with some demonic things. But anyways, so yeah, so I just wanted to share, like, why did I choose to marry someone 5 years younger? And like, it was real struggle. It was a real struggle. The first 3 years of our marriage were tough because my husband just needed a lot of help with freedom and deliverance and the revelation of Christ. And so a lot of the things that God would show me, he would mock. And it wasn't ever him, it was the entities that were inside of him that wanted me dead. And so thankfully, my husband has always loved me. He just had some restrictions and bindings spiritually that would not allow him to reveal his love and lead me in love. And so now he's fully set free and delivered. And so we don't have any problems with that. But it was a real struggle for sure the first 3 years of our wedding, of our matrimony. So anyways, that's all I have to share. I would not marry someone younger or more mature, and I would not marry someone with a bunch of baggage, because that's not what is going to help you. You need to be like, we need to be the version of ourselves that is free, that is in our purpose and our destiny, that knows who we are, so that in case our partner does need help, then we are able to help them. Because as a woman, we are called to help our spouses go into the next level of maturity, and that's what their position as a husband and father will do. It will put pressure on them and stretch them. And then also as a wife, because you're guiding them, and like, you're exposing parts of them and parts of each other that are put into the light that have to be dealt with. And that's where that grace and that patience comes in. So during our trials and storms, and oh my goodness, it's like during those seasons, I would just have to lean into Jesus and cry a lot. And lean into the word and just really use worship and really just hold God to his word. And that allowed us to get through these storms victorious. And I can say now we are about to really begin building momentum, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for this season. So that's why I married someone younger. It's because God affirmed it. I do have a masterclass on March 24th. It is a private Zoom class. You can enroll on the link below in the bio. Not in the bio, it's in the bio as well, but also on the description below, you can enroll. It's you'll see March Masterclass in all caps, and then you can enroll in that. And first 10 spots are free. We have 1 or 2 spots left. I would encourage you to do it now, because I'd love for you to get your spot before I start charging $300 a ticket. So God bless.